getting close. Hold on 1 second. I'm setting some stuff up. So there's this thing out there. I think it's the. Hold on, let me take a look at this button. Is it this one?
Even outside, it's packed. I don't want anything that's good.
Oh yeah, that's useful. Okay, push the right button there. Let's see. Turn. What happens when I turn this knob?
De-engineering.
I see. All right. Hold on a second. Wait, which way does this one go?
The numbers should skyrocket downward.
I see. Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Master lever. Moon River. Okay, everything's good. Everything's good. Everything works. Here we go. 3, 2, hi. Hey, good morning. How are you? Good day, good afternoon, good evening, good hotness. The sun is blazing through the window that's right next to my desk, and and it's toasty. It's very toasty. Oh, it's toasty. Hope you are well today. Hope you're staying out of the heat if it's around you, and in the heat if it's not. Yeah. And can we start off with some good news right away before I even go to the chat room and say hi? Because I love you guys, but here you go. The U.S. Fed's favorite inflation gauge declined sharply in May. U.S. inflation measure not most closely watched by the Federal Reserve declined sharply in May. Official figures showed Friday returning to a downward trend after a jump a month earlier. The Fed recently announced it was pausing its aggressive campaign of 10 consecutive interest rate hikes. The PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, the measure of inflation, eased to 3.8% year-on-year in May, a significant drop from 4.3 a month earlier. Commerce Department said in a statement. So you are witnessing the death of another talking point. It's I wouldn't quite put it in the coffin yet, but I mean you can if you want to. You could cremate it, put it in a coffin with some documents you're trying to hide. If that's your thing. I don't know anybody who would come up with that. And I would also, right out of the gate, if I may, moment of point of privilege, Mr. Chairman, people of the jury, those folks that are standing. I
like fighting number 2.
No, that's the wrong one. Oh, that's the wrong one too.
I broke their ass.
No, that's not it.
Even outside, it's packed.
That's what I was looking for. Everybody who's in the courtroom and not in the courtroom.
Even outside, it's packed.
Correct. So, if I may, Alan Arkin has passed. Alan Arkin was 89 years old, and today, of all days, is Vincent D'Onofrio's birthday. So, I want to send some love out to Vincent D'Onofrio, who I know is a fan of Alan Arkin, as am I, on his birthday. Sorry for the weird thing that happened on your birthday. That's always not fun. That said, Alan Arkin was just lovely. Just a lovely, funny, poignant, silly, gracious human being. Period. End of story. And if now because people will become aware of what they were missing all this time, people will hopefully go back over his entire life's work and go, oh my God, why was this guy not huge? And in many ways he was exactly the size career-wise he wanted to be, and apparently no bigger, and was just terrific. And I'd always liked him, but my love for him was cemented in So I Married an Axe Murderer, and his playing the police chief opposite Anthony LaPaglia and doing this whole like mixture of the loving, kind, supportive police chief, the new police chief that they're trying to get in there, while the cop wanted the hard ass tough guy who was always worrying about getting his butt reamed out by the commissioner.
Moon River.
Right. And he tried desperately. It's a great bit. And Mike Myers created that even concept, which is just a wonderful gift to all of us. So thanks, Mike, for that weird idea that Anthony LaPaglia and Alan Arkin pulled off so masterfully. There's so much stuff. Him and Peter Falk and the in-laws, The Russians are coming. A myriad of guest stars and supporting roles. Just a sweet human being. So there you go, right out of the gate. Rest in peace, Alan Arkin. 89 years old, passed today. Yeah, that's all. Just before we even get to that, that's okay. Just wanted to say that up front. That said, where am I? Oh, I don't have my chat open because I was too busy worrying about that. Hold on one second. I will open the chat and join you in just one moment. We went to a baseball game last night, and they lost. The Vegas Aviators blew a 5-0 lead in the first 2 innings to lose by, I don't know, by the end, 9 points. Who cares? It was 3 points, 4 points. Wait, yes, he got an Oscar for Little Miss Sunshine. Alan Arkin, yeah. Serpentine, love the in-laws, yes. Grosse Point Blank, Glengarry Glen Ross, Little Miss Sunshine, exactly. Fun and Get Smart with Steve Carell. That was at the period in his, yes, a Second City alum, that's right. That was during the period where everybody wanted to be they wanted to be around Alan Arkin. There was a period where people were starting to recognize just how funny he was, and they wanted to, they wanted to have him in the movie. So, such a funny dude, such a sweetheart. And lessons to be learned. And again, anybody that talks about like the unattainable Hollywood standard of beauty and the blah blah blah, doing like, yeah, all right, look at Alan Arkin, absolutely pedestrian looking human being who just shined. There's hope for us all. Yeah. So, anyways, welcome to not just our regulars, but the trolls as well. We've been picking up a bunch of those lately. I noticed that when we're painfully right about, we're always right about Ukraine and Russia, but when we're painfully right about it, that's when they really shows up. That's when they really show up. Joe needs to add SCOTUS judges. Well, this would be a great moment for Jill Stein and Nina Turner and all those folks to fuck right off. Yeah, because that's what those folks gave us. That's what the Susan Sarandons gave us. That's what I don't know. It's just it's the lesser of two evils, and I'm Hillary is just I'm not sure and blah yeah. That's who brought us this. You were like, I don't know, roll the dice on Trump. Then this is what you get. Will we fix this? Absolutely. Will it require legislation? Of course. But if Democrats, or people who even pretend to love these issues, who barely ever call themselves Democrats and operate on the fringes, what would be the progressive independents, if they don't shore up the Congress and make sure that in their district, wherever they live, not some sort of like nationwide slacktivist attack on all things Democrat, but in their actual district, if they don't show up and deliver, then that's all you're going to get. That's all that matters at this point on so many fronts is who's going to have the next Supreme Court, because the Republicans have just put their stake in the ground. Their tent pole is based on the idea that they're never going to win a nationwide election again, more than likely. And if they do, it will be all about replacing anyone on the Supreme Court. And if they do it in a cycle, that's when it will happen. Yep. Everyone troll MR, just call them tankies. I don't know that they're all tankies over there. The Senate needs to add more SCOTUS justices, not the president. It's not going to happen. There aren't enough senators to do it. You can have a single senator do an anonymous hold on that idea. It's not going to happen. It's up to the people. It's up to us. If the lesson of any of this shit should be stop taking your hands off the reins and going, I don't know, it's the lesser of two evils. All right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Make you owe you a damn cake. I'm not. Make your own damn cake. Damn is when you spell damn, Timothy. It's spelled with an N. It's okay. Yeah. So that's about the education stuff, and we'll get into our trends this morning, if I may. Alan Arkin's way down here. He was at the top when I got up this morning, as he should be. Mitch McConnell. Yeah, this is the Supreme Court that Mitch McConnell and Republicans built. No, it isn't. Yeah, no, you can't lay this on Mitch McConnell because he wouldn't have had the opportunity if 40,000 extra voters had shown up in 3 swing states. This is on us. This is on our side of the aisle. If you don't like the way the rulings went, that battle was fought and lost years ago when Trump got elected the first time. The question is, destruction way easier than creation. And if you're not ready to do the work that's oftentimes, here it comes, incremental and strategic and takes focus, if you're not ready to do that, you just like, we need to fight. There needs to be a new law. Blah, blah, blah. No. You don't get to throw your fucking hands up. The car careens into a ditch. It's destroyed and go, we need a new law where I can snap my fingers and get a new car. Like it's like life is GTA. It doesn't work that way. National security because of Trump, I suppose. Imagine that you're a woman who wants to serve this country by joining our military, but since the Dobbs decision, you run the risk of being assigned to a base where your reproductive freedoms don't exist. Yeah, agreed. That's why I think it's a federal right. This is a mix of national security from almost everybody. Okay, cool. Nebraska, dear God. Major tornado intercept southwest of Kimball, Nebraska. Well, dear God, what if it heads towards that the people in the let's drive out into the middle of nowhere in tornado land. Let's see. Jones going to descent. Okay, so you wrote the descent on that. Yes. Solar panels destroyed by a large hail of North Scarlet. Okay. Yeah, that's part of the issue. I suppose you need something that you can cover them up with in the case of a tornado. That would be a thing where they, like a panel that shuts over top of them. You know what I mean? That would be a thought. I'm just saying it since they're made out of glass. U.S. court rules Biden administration overstepped its authority in trying to cancel or reduce student loan debt, effectively killing the $400 billion plan. Millions of Americans are expected to resume payments by late summer. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Nina. Thanks, Susan Sarandon. Thanks. Yep. That's who stacked that court. So you might have, why does a corporation from Maryland care so much about the education of Nebraska? Money from Nebraska's public tax money. They decline to sign. Peeps are not from here. What? A bill to fund private schools with public dollars has always been a scam to benefit people who fund private schools. Is to find a place to sign a petition. Let's go get this law overturned. Okay, because Nebraska just passed that because they want public funds going to Christian schools. That's because they're not having then apparently their churches aren't convincing enough. That's when you need your children to be indoctrinated 5 days a week, your preachers suck. Okay, Jill Stein, needless to say. Nina Turner campaigned for Jill Stein in the swing state of Pennsylvania. Yep. Terrible. Yes. Jill Stein voters helped kill Roe, and they helped GOP stack the court. They helped Trump win. Yep. Madison, Wisconsin. Hillary Clinton was clear about the role the next POTUS would play in shaping the SCOTUS. I don't hear jack shit from folks who campaigned with Jill Stein or were Bernie dead enders in 2016. Agreed. But at least the Jill Stein people voted their conscience, which is clearly more important. And she is now running Cornel West's bid. The idea is that they think they can peel off. It is a odd and seemingly racist idea that they will run him to peel off black voters of a certain education level by a percentage point or something to lower Joe Biden's chances against whoever / Trump next time. It's kind of gross. Republican president would stack the Supreme Court with justices who will rip all. Yeah, this is from January 12th, 2016. Who will rip away all the progress we have made. Yeah. SCOTUS doesn't give a damn about the people, says the woman who campaigned for Jill Stein in 2016. Apparently, Cornel West has decided to be the Jill Stein of the 2024 election, moving to the Green Party. Let's be clear, the first pass of the post system of politics, and vote for anyone other than Democratic nominee is vote for the Republican. Yes, it is. There's Jill Stein. There's Vladimir Putin. There's Amir Kuristika and his wife. And there's Mike Flynn. Sitting at the table, man. Right at the table. And Flynn right next to him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There we go. Let's see. Oh boy, give her platform. She bottles her presentation. This is like when Jill Stein got 1 hour of CNN time in 2016. This is why liberals aren't going to take her seriously, and I don't blame them. Never mind her Palestine takes. Oh, she's on breaking points. Oh dear.
One of the things that really upset me during the COVID vaccine was how little conversation was even allowed about treatment, whether it was ivermectin or hydrochloroquine. So I would notice that friends of mine would say, oh, my doctor gave me ivermectin or my doctor gave me hydrochloroquine. So I realized there was this kind of elite America that was having one conversation while the CDC, the administrations, were both using the media to focus us on this idea. No, it's.
Oh, okay. First of all, she fucking did not. Marianne Williamson was not having more than a conversation with anyone who had ivermectin or hydrochloroquine given to them by their doctor during COVID. These are videos she watched. This is just nonsense. And the idea that understand the premise of what she's saying here. What she's saying is that my rich and powerful friends in the elite all have whisper talks with me about how they're getting ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And the plebes and the people who I truly understand and represent in many ways were having a totally different conversation or being told what to do, and were on as thick-headed, human pablum. They just, I don't know, they just walk around bumping into shit and they don't know because the system told them that they can't have fish tank cleaner or horse dewormer as a way to fight off something. When in reality, again, if ivermectin helped you fight off COVID, it's because COVID isn't, in many ways, what it does is it triggers an overreaction to your immune system, as do having worms. And so if ivermectin happened to help you, it's because you had worms. It lowered the toxicity in your system from worms. Good fucking God.
It's gotta be just a vaccine. It's gotta be just a vaccine, just a vaccine. And I think that was wrong. You couldn't even talk about vitamin C.
You couldn't even talk about vitamin C. Did anyone have trouble purchasing, taking, or recommending vitamin C? And secondarily, who the shit thinks it cures it? And this being different and more extreme and killing people quicker, was anybody going, I got some vitamin C, I'm fine? Tuberculosis, I don't know, it's just another lung thing, right?
Do you think that the COVID vaccines were effective at preventing severe illness and death?
I think that the American people deserved to hear the truth. I think there's a very good argument for the fact that they did. I do believe that, but I also believe that there were risks that the government and governmental agencies knew about, and they did not trust the American people to make that decision for themselves. And these were some.
There's a couple of ways you can take this. One, she's trying to out RFK. She's trying to be like the RFK with better vocal cords, right? That's the argument. The other argument is that they're kind of cool. There's a stretch of humans who are kind of cool with the red states were murdering themselves. It was the Trump supporters who wanted to take fish tank cleaner and horse dewormer, buying it at truck stops and at veterinarians and using it on themselves. And if they want to die, it's isn't the planet overpopulated anyways? This weird kind of like Darwin-esque. People should be allowed. I would take the vaccine, but people should be allowed to make their own decision. Now, they're obviously going to clog up the hospital and use ventilators and the like that people that say have heart attacks and other stuff aren't going to be able to use because the hospitals get clogged which they no longer are because the vast majority of people are vaccinated. So even if it does start rolling through any particular group, it stops at the vaccinated.
Scientists who were mothers, who back when I was living in Los Angeles particularly, were saying, why is it that so many more of these chemicals are in ours, that there's so much more bundling compared to people in Europe? Why is it that we're taking these vaccines so close together compared to how they're giving them in Europe? And I saw firsthand.
Because Europe isn't a country, and not all the countries have the same standard. And the EU has to, because they are wrestling countries together, not states, where there is no federal system. The EU has to play nice with the more extremes among it. Europe isn't a country. I'm just going to leave it at that. The United States is. That's why.
And how these women were demonized. I saw how they were treated like they were anti-vax. Listen, I'm running for president. I know how this system works. And I saw
Well, from the losing side, yeah.
last time when I ran, if you even come close to suggesting that pharmaceutical companies are not just pure as the driven snow.
Horse shit. There hasn't been, and this includes Trump, there hasn't been a presidential candidate since, I'd have to rack my brain to see if Bush even ventured into this, but certainly Gore went this way, and, that's been trying to ratchet down the costs of medical care in the United States, and who's dealt with in one form or another discussing the costs of pharmaceuticals and whether Medicare or Medicaid can negotiate prices and all that kind of stuff. That has not brought up the difficulties or the profit motive or any kind of negatives about these, or nobody's pulled off. Like, I will run on the idea that I will pull the DOJ off of any attacks on our pharmaceutical companies because they are pure as the driven snow. This level of hyperbolic exaggeration in your discussion of stuff is childish.
I see what they do to you. They've done it to me, and they did it to those women.
Okay, they didn't. I don't know what women she's talking about. If women want to space out their vaccines in California, and like the dads don't care, I don't know what the fuck that is. You can. You know how I know? Because we did. Again, most of this is based on some sort of farcical mythology, Illuminati horseshit that never even pertained to her.
So absolutely, I would stand for independent research.
Independent research. Okay. So if you're for independent research, does that mean you automatically don't trust the CDC and the NIH, and therefore you will defund, disband them? Are you going to bring a representative from the granola industry into work at the NIH and the CDC? Are you going to put the vitamin C back in CDC? Is that what you're running on? Fucking hell. Ugh. Fans of Russia, Daniel Ortega, Viktor Orban, Jill Stein, and Tucker Carlson. Stay tuned. You're going to have so much more to be pissed about. There you go. Thanks, Peter. Yep. Elections have consequences. That's it. Yeah. There we go. There's Peskov. That's this guy right here is Putin's current PR guy. Sergei Ivanov. Yeah, these fucking murderers. Same thing. Grifters at No Labels are doing the same thing. Today was a setback for student debt cancellation, not a defeat. Do not lose hope. We must pressure POTUS into using every tool to deliver on his promise. No. He did deliver on his promise to the extent that he can as POTUS. It's now up to the voters. Jimmy Dore on Jill Stein being handcuffed. Hold on.
And she
What now?
showed and Jill Stein was the Green Party candidate in 2012. She showed up. They wouldn't let her in the debate. They won't even let the people hear you if you're a third party in the United States.
Yeah, she didn't chart, and she wasn't on. She could debate in the public. Anybody who can get 3% can debate in the public all you want. But when you're talking about the two major parties and they're having a debate, you got to kind of, to be an insurgent campaign, you actually have to have a real insurgency. But whatever.
They wouldn't let her in the debate. She showed up to the debate. They handcuffed her in the basement for 8 hours. That's what they did to a doctor who
no.
was running as a Green Party candidate, and she showed up to a debate. They handcuffed her in the basement for 8 hours. Why?
They handcuffed her in the basement for 8 hours. Let's see. Let's see. Vice President Kennedy and Cherry Holongo were arrested Tuesday as they attempted third guy Stein was blocked from participating, but Stein and Hughes were held for 8 hours, handcuffed to chairs as she was being arrested. Then this mock debate, blah blah blah. Amy Good. Okay, that's from when she was on the Democracy Now! I'm trying to find the actual line. We're on the ballot. 85% of the country, 85% of voters. Let's see. Oh, this is when she's outside. Okay, so that's where this comes from, is her interview with Amy Goodman, where she was detained for 8 hours. She was not locked in the basement of the hall where they had the place for 8 hours. Banning debate with third party candidates, Jill Stein, Visual Good, Rocky Anderson. Yeah, here come the supporters of Jill Stein. It's a Putin dinner. She was a third party candidate responsible for bleeding votes from Hillary. Yep. The entire purpose. And now she's running Cornell's campaign, who is running on a jazz ticket, apparently. If you watched any of his stuff, he keeps calling himself a jazz man. Does anybody know if Cornel West plays an instrument, or you can just call yourself a jazz man? I didn't know it was that easy. Here I am practicing guitar almost every day, and I would never be so bold as to call myself a jazz man. Let's see. Russians are coming. Oh, good. Okay, so we're back to movies that Alan Arkin is in. Catch-22, The Russians Are Coming, The In-Laws, 7% Solution, Glengarry Glen Ross, Grosse Pointe Blank, Little Miss Sunshine, etc., etc., etc. Bless his heart. Alan Arkin. Lovely human. Yep. He's, again, another one of those people where, like, just everybody who talks about him, just a joy to work with. Let's see. Whoopi, I don't know why what Whoopi said. Whoopi read Clarence Thomas. Oh, I see. Both Whoopi and Sonny told the truth on who are the actual beneficiaries of affirmative action. White women. Of course, the list tried to gentrusplain this topic with baseless talking points. Not surprised, but both Whoopi and Sonny schooled her on this. All right,
successful in access. I think it's really important to note. I'm sorry, my earpiece is buzzing. I think it's really important to note that something you've noted a lot, Whoopi, is that the group that has been most successful in accessing diversity initiatives are white women. Yeah. Right? That's the group that has been most successful. So when we're talking...
Well, wait. By volume, not by percentage necessarily. And I mean, they are a much bigger part. They're close to 48% of the entire electorate. So volume-wise, they are. And women's rights being held back as long as they were, access to universities, all that kind of stuff. Women in general, because there are more of them, that's going to happen. But, okay.
She's not saying anything against white women. Let's be clear. That is a fact.
That's just a fact.
It's just because of the number of them.
And so when we're talking about taking preferential treatment, We have to look at that. Are we now also going to take away legacy sports? How about people with How about people with disabilities? I mean, I think.
How about kids whose parents give a lot of money to the institution?
Yeah. How about
That's
how
another
about the
thing.
Jared Kushners
Yeah,
of
they
the
name
world?
a wing after somebody, and then the kids get in.
So why? My question is, why is this just about race?
But this is
Well, that's why I said what is scary, because you are talking about folks who bust their behinds, who get a little bit of help, because if you're a black kid, as we said, if you're a black kid or an Asian child or a Native American kid that's coming from your experience, they are taking that into consideration because you've worked your way to there. You've gotten to here, and they say, let us help you get up because we see where you're heading. We want to help you.
Well, yeah, the argument I always made is that the kid who gets straight A's at a school that has metal detectors versus a kid who gets straight A's at a school that's, you know, basically like a college campus and has free secondary tutoring sessions afterwards because kids in the math club and stuff get college points for tutoring other students. All things being equal, if you look at their grade scores, they're the same. But the kid who goes to the school with the metal detectors is obviously the real go-getter in that situation. Most of the time, schools will take that into effect, even without affirmative action. The argument for them has often been that affirmative action makes it look like they're there by affirmative action instead of the school recognizing that they busted their hump, and all things being equal, they might have the same average as somebody else. And the only consideration would be whether they can afford it or not, and then scholarships work their way in, blah, blah, blah. We have, again, this is the responsibility of the electorate and the society itself. The elimination of this particular thing was brought, I believe, by Asian students. The initial case, or at least one of them. Hold on one second. Yeah. So break down the incoming class. So Supreme Court will hear a challenge over affirmative action. Because I'm trying to find the original one. The original. Yeah. So the center of this case was the fact that Asian Americans and Asian American kids were being denied a spot at a school when they had higher numbers than anybody else because of affirmative action for other folks. That's how this came about. It's weird that Whoopi would cite Asians in this. Maybe she just saw the relation of the word or buzzed the article and that, which is whatever. She means well, so I don't care. This is leading to no women in colleges soon. Who knows? It's a good compilation of less. Okay. SCOTUS reaction. No, it won't. Spoke facts, schooled Alyssa on how the system was then and still is today. Okay. Racist where we go wants black citizens to be permanently locked in victim. Oh, yeah, all right, whatever. Thank you, Juanita Broderick, for speaking on behalf of black people everywhere. Unlike Whoopi Goldberg. What does Whoopi Goldberg know about being black? Honestly, at this point. And Dinesh D'Souza. Whoopi should be removed immediately. Thanks. Imagine a world where anybody listens to Dinesh, including Debbie. If everyone was actually treated equally, we wouldn't have to put in affirmative action. In theory, it's the idea. Okay, so that's going to be, again, that fight. I'm sorry, folks, but that fight was lost in 2016. Fixing it is the new fight, I suppose, if you want to use this stupid term fight to discuss this. It's going to take work. But it ain't going to be like, he's got to side something. Biden's got to side something. Fix this. No. You can't. It's like, you can only be a child once in this stupid fucking argument. Doris Burke is trending. But she got into pig slip as well. Okay, see, these are. ESPN has let go of Jeff Van Gundy okay, I see. They're just talking about maybe people kicking. Okay. Then we'll go to the First Amendment, which, curiously, let's see. U.S. Supreme Court rules in favor of Christian web design business owner refuses to provide services for same-sex weddings. Supreme Court has first ruled 6-3 in form of Colorado web designers' First Amendment rights, allowing her to refuse service to same-sex marriages. Decision highlights freedom of expression, stating Colorado cannot compel a designer to create designs conflicting with her beliefs. Yeah, this is different than the cake ruling. This actually had more grounds than the cake ruling because her business does not take up any space. Let's say you can only have room for a couple of bakers in town because of the ingredients necessary in making a cake and blah, blah, blah. And you could argue that, maybe that somebody could put a lock, you could have a monopoly on cakes in town, in a small enough town. And this is the extremes that SCOTUS has to think about in terms, but in terms of designers, especially web designers where no one has to be right next to you, they were never going to side with her, period. This is red meat for it, like, silly. Just like, hey, it's like, think of this shit as a giant Yelp review. Like, this woman makes bigot websites. Cool. End of story. Yep. Let's see. First minute. Yeah, Bernie's trending, probably due to the exact same. Yeah. Right up there with Jill Stein. Why are two of Bernie Sanders' black surrogates online bullying a prominent Gen Z activist? Let's see. One, we are not on a first name basis. My name is Senator Turner, former Ohio Senate Minority Whip. Jesus Christ. As someone who has whipped votes in past legislations, you did not explain the legislative process. There was no mention of votes needed versus votes short on the filibuster. The condescension of this person is remarkable. Very few people are as loud, disrespectful, and wrong. And this is Twitter, LOL. This is Brianna Joy Gray and Nina Turner attacking Olivia Giuliani. All right. This is weird. After Biden averted a strike, it looked like a loss on sick days, but unions have made big gains in recent months with help from Senator Bernie Sanders. Rail workers kept applying pressure for sick days. It's working. They signed a contract that they agreed to. They're going to keep, of course, they're going to keep pushing for more of what they want. Oh, good Lord. Nina Turner's not a progressive. She's a bitter, narcissistic disruptor. All right. Faux-aggressive. Hashtag faux-aggressive. Does DOD know whether Prigozhin is alive, or are we in a weekend at Bernie scenario? I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm not going to get the reference. I'm kidding. Gen Xer at the podium. I have many responsibilities, but press sec for Prigozhin is not one. I saw a picture of Prigozhin walking. Doesn't mean it's actually him, though. And then Bernie, blah, blah, what is this? Netherlands, the road to The Hague is paved with farmers. No one voted for compulsory vote. Okay, whatever. Remember when Nina Turner wanted to make Bernie Sanders 46? Yeah, this is what did they call him by name? Former boss. Joe Manchin is intentionally sabotaging the president's agenda, Bernie Sanders. And that's my job. I'm kidding. Relax. Rudy Giuliani is bankrupt. Did he flip? There's a much bigger part to this. I have a whole thing I'm building up for this afternoon about Rudy Giuliani and his Ukraine gathering. I am of the opinion that the informant that they are talking about, who spoke to Vodolensky, the head of Burisma. I'm sorry, is it Burisma or is it
The Burmese executives.
Right. Those more than likely Rudy is, if not Andre Derkash, one of them is the source on that FD 1023 form. That's why they don't want to talk about it. He hasn't gone missing and he won't come forward. Like simply because everybody will go, what? It's fucking Rudy. What? That's why. The HEROES Act. 60 strikes down POTUS's plan to cancel student debt via the HEROES Act. He can still use the Higher Education Act to cancel the debt. No, he can't. Congress passed a bill granting him that authority. No, they didn't. President, it's not what it does. President must fight for millions that were promised relief. Supreme Court's decision on the HEROES Act, Biden's attempt to cancel student debt. Right. 6-3 shoots down the loan forgiveness. There you go. Reads main paragraph of the Supreme Court's decision to strike down presidents. The court said Congress never intended for any administration to use the HEROES Act to waive all of this or grant, rather, this loan forgiveness. 6-3 strikes down Biden. Yep. Cancel student debt. Across the board for everybody, we're going to act like again, the popularity of this is vastly overstated. And most people are for the cancellation of or the deferral of student debt on, the kind of shit you get for that makes you a public servant, like being a nurse or teaching certifications and that kind of stuff. Anything that where you have to get a master's in something to teach it, that, deferring that so that we grow the fields that we have a hard time growing. But again, like poetry degrees. So, and everybody who works at a hedge fund getting their a chunk of their loan, because loans are cheaper than using cash at certain times. Not now. But were certainly, especially in terms of student loans, than actually doling out the money right away, and you can write it off. So a lot of business people, a lot of hedge fund style folks and accountants and the people that work at those kind of places, they definitely have student loans that are enormous. Plaintiff of 303 Creative Center lawyers Alliance invented a same-sex couple claim to make her a wedding site. The request from the forum's lawsuit is fake. That doesn't surprise me either. Finally launched. Again, this is Christian web designer Lori Smith hates the idea of gay clients, so she brought her case to SCOTUS. And becomes very tangent picnics. Okay. Yeah, this is not surprising. Like that case never had legs. They were never going to be able to force somebody, a designer, to do something. Again, it's what would you call the sort of the bridge to cross rule. If somebody's in charge of a bridge that we all have to cross, their right to determine who gets to cross the bridge diminishes incredibly. If it's not a bridge everybody has to cross, but and only the people who want to cross it use it, then the rights and freedoms of the person to determine who crosses that bridge are greatly raised by their First Amendment rights. If the bridge, and that's in the case of this designer, if the bridge doesn't exist at all, if she runs the business out of her house, she doesn't require a secondary space, nobody has to go around her business to get to another business, then there was just no way that they were going to find against her. A mansion run would be the Dems' worst nightmare. No. He's trying to run a third-party candidate. Yeah, Manchin's not going to run third-party against the Democrats. Fuck off with that. You have a better... The reason they're saying Manchin is because they want... if they said Kristen Sinema, they'd go, oh, dear God, Marianne's got a running mate. Okay, Nicole Wallace asked Biden if he would tipped off Putin, if he was still president. Oh God, which sums up. If Trump would have tipped him off, yes. And this was the big story that came up on fucking Wednesday, Thursday. Aides said Donald Trump talked about Ivanka's breasts, her butt, and what might be like to have sex with her. And John Kelly was like, "Dude, it's your daughter. What the fuck is wrong with you?" Which is how people respond if they still exist. And, if they're not just a carcass. MAGA followers still believe Trump is the president. Biden is using a fake presidential seal when he speaks. We've seen this, and this is a while back. They're rerunning these things. People think the president of the United States has the power for student loan debt forgiveness. He does not. Yeah, she was right. They tried. He did his best. He tried to find a way that would do it. But suddenly he doesn't really care. He would have fought. He fought. He should have fought for it. He should have gone down there and punched the SCOTUS or some shit. Good Lord. By the way, chat room, hi. Weird Kelly didn't double down. Yeah. So, Johnny Million this afternoon. Yes, Johnny Million will be on Twitch this afternoon. House Parks. Progressives want to know what can be done about SCOTUS and Roe v. Wade and college affirmative action. Please explain other than inventing a time machine, going back to 2015 and voting nothing. You have to vote. Here's what they have to do. And they're going to hate it. They're going to have to vote for the Democrat in their area, whether they like them or not, for the next decade. Because cleaning up a mess takes longer than making it. And they made the mess. They were responsible for that mess. You come over and you push the fucking wedding cake off the table into the floor and stomp on it. And then you go, we need a wedding cake. The wedding's in an hour. You're the asshole. You don't get to go, it should have bounced. It was supposed to bounce. I was supposed to push the wedding cake off and it was supposed to fucking bounce back up. And it was supposed to be better. Like it was going to bounce and then it was going to turn to gold. Like it's the stupidest tactical horse shit. It's childish. It's grotesque. And quite frankly, you want to talk about privilege. You know how privileged you have to be to throw away your fucking vote on a third party candidate when someone like Donald Trump, who brags about grabbing women and who says we should have taken Venezuela's oil. We would have had their oil by now. He doesn't even talk about Iraq anymore or fucking the Kurdish territories in Syria. He means Venezuela. He thinks we should have attacked Venezuela. And you're going to tell me that like America's an imperialist force, but thank God Donald Trump is standing up to the deep state. Shut the fuck up. What is wrong with you? How do you know how stupid you have to be to even float that idea? And especially now, like I'll buy that maybe you were like, I don't know, it's a businessman and she's a chick. So let's see, businessman, woman who was Secretary of State and whose husband was president, so she was around it for 8 years and saw the decision-making process and might have had a clue on how to do it, ran for senator, became a senator, then became Secretary of State. Businessman. She is a chick, though, so blech, that was the decision. I'm not going to give you that's an okay decision to have made at some point in your life. It's fucked up. But I'm only going to give you one. You don't get to do it again. Jesus. Ugh. Right? Chicks, am I right, Betsy? And for the record, I voted for Obama twice, I voted for Hillary, and I voted for Joe Biden. Because the track that they are on to better the fucking country. And I voted for John Kerry, and I voted for Al Gore, and I voted for Clinton twice. There you go. Like, because this thing is a cruise ship. It's not a speedboat. And anybody who tells you it's a fight, it's not a fight. Fuck you. It's not a fight. It's legislation. It's argument, if anything. And fighting, even as an argumentative base, it means you've already given up on explaining it or selling your idea. Now you're just trying to outshout the other person. That's what Cenk was talking about. We need a fighter in Congress when he was running and he lost. And all Cenk Uger's entire $1 million campaign did was shave enough votes off the Democratic candidate to stop a female Democrat from getting in office and giving the seat to a male Republican. That's all he did. $1 million fucking dollars for 4% of the vote or some shit. But enough to shave the vote for the Republican. And all he ever did was attack her. Nope. So anybody who's like, outraged about the SCOTUS decisions at Joe Biden, piss off. The nerve, the privilege, the elitism that you're showing. To quote Greta Thunberg, who I believe is meeting with Zelensky today or was yesterday or whatever, how dare you? Because seriously, you're out of your fucking mind. I mean, that's how mean-spirited children think. SCOTUS is mostly Republican. It is now. Please police us. Yeah, I police you. I'm sheepdogging. That's what this is. I'm sheepdogging. You start wandering out of the valley and into the wolf territory, going, there, I don't know, maybe the wolf is more my friend. I'm going to fucking sheepdog you back. And if you don't listen to my barks, I'm not going to bite you. So off you go. And if you get eaten by the wolves, why would any of us go, oh, that's terrible. It must be on me for not sheepdogging enough. Yeah. Voting third party is an act of privilege and selfishness. Yes, exactly. SCOTUS decisions are absolutely Trump's fault, and tankies who helped Trump into office bear the blame. I agree. I blame Ruth Bader Ginsburg for not retiring under Obama. That's one seat. Still not the effect. That's one. And even still, the idea that she was expecting Hillary to win. She wanted Hillary to pick her successor. She wanted the first female president to pick her successor. And she should have had the right to do that because it shouldn't have even been fucking close. Again, no. No. Absolutely not. The insanity that anybody would flip a coin when the next president is going to definitely decide who replaces Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And the fact that she wanted the first female president to do it, I think would have been very poignant and touching and smart and cool and great for the country. And everybody I don't know, he's a businessman. Let's see, she's married to a guy that used to be president, so that's a dynasty. Meanwhile, I don't know, what does George H. Bush say to George W. Bush and Jeb? I don't know if he could. No. RGB should have had Hillary to pick her successor. That's on us. On us. Yes, black women listened to Hillary. They indeed did. So, yeah. So, no. I mean, and by the way, there are very few people still whining about this horseshit, who get defensive about it. Dorr and Nina Turner and a few others, whatever. But the rest of the country has moved on. The rest of the country knows better. And even TYT is having to dial back their more, extreme talking points lately because they realize that they've just been stomping rakes ever since. And this is on them. This is TYT, this is part of the house that TYT built. No question. So, other than that, I have no opinion. So, a couple of, there's Kagan, because she wrote a dissent, I believe. Say Justice Kagan recused herself, and then it cites part of the recusal law that allows you to kind of figure out why she's recusing herself. Justice Alito, for example, has not been doing that. That's true. Sotomayor joined Kagan and Jackson. Today, this court stands in the way. It rolls back decades of precedent and momentous progress. Court cements a superficial rule of colorblindness as a constitutional principle in an endemically segregated society. Yes, well, right. That's what they've been set to do. Again, that fight was lost in 2016. Yep, heat waves. More heat to come with current decline in economic activity will paradoxically make it even warmer with the high levels of positive forcing greenhouse gases heat mitigation now. No, the downturn and the number of people, especially the demographic element, will be helping mitigate some of the climate issues. Forcing everyone to watch The Nice Guys 2016 before seeing Barbie 2023, so you can imagine pregame Ryan Gosling as a himbo. God damn, he's good in that. He's so good in that. If you haven't seen The Nice Guys, Grace is absolutely right. He's so good. It's he and Russell Crowe, these are two of my favorite performances since the mid-'80s. There's so much charm and just quality, comfortable, subtle work in this. And good on Shane Black for letting it happen as a director, writing it. Yeah. I think that works. Anyways, let me, Cuphead, really? We're going to Cuphead? Is that getting an update? What happened? You never watch an episode of Cuphead, show it, and you stumble upon this. I see. 50 game bundles. Okay, brother. Evil Cuphead, pencil test. I see. Now, if I may, yeah, So I Married an Axe Murderer is trending because of Alan Arkin in it. This.
I hear from the boys upstairs you've been sticking your nose in a Ralph Elliott case.
Yes, Captain.
Don't yes, Captain, me! Stay out of this. This is strictly homicide.
But Captain, I got this friend.
We all got these friends. I'm warning you, Giardino. Back off, Italian boy. Keep away from this one. It's too big for you.
Wait a minute, Captain. Wait a minute. Trust me on this one. I know what I'm talking about. What's the news?
Oh, you want to hear the news? Well, here's the news. It seems that the old lady that confessed to the murder of Ralph Elliott has also confessed to a couple of other murders.
I knew she would. I knew it.
Yeah, right. Well, she's confessed to the murders of Abraham Lincoln, Warren G. Harding, and Julius Caesar. She's a nutcase. A nutcase.
Oh, my God. I gotta go.
You screw this one up, pal, and you'll be writing parking tickets for the rest of your life. You got that?
Captain, I won't let you down.
And wait for it. Wait for it.
Good for you. That was so much better.
Yeah, you like
really
it?
terrific. It was fantastic.
I don't know, the beginning felt pretty good.
Yeah, it was great.
I started to get too much in the end.
No. It was really terrific.
Yeah.
I'd really like to discuss this, but I gotta go save a life.
Let me
okay?
work on it. I'll work on it.
Work on it because it was terrific. And honestly, it was such a big improvement. Fantastic. Thank you.
It's just so good. Just so good. His immediate go back to actor and nibbling on his nail right after, like, as soon as he leaves the room, like, I don't know. Going, like, just being the actor going over his take, his read on stuff. It's so good. It's just such a, oh, it's a shame. He's going to be sorely missed. Just fucking great work. Man. But if you haven't watched that, please do. Please do. Linda Carter, look at that. Her social media feeds rank alongside Mark Hamill and George Takei in terms of popularity. She regularly uses her platform to champion LGBT plus and women's rights. The actor looks more and more like her famous character every day. Thanks, CBR. Oh, that's very sweet. It's true. Proud to be part of the triad with Mark Hamill and George Takei. That's amazing. Okay, let me show you something over here at Bloomberg real quick. Blink, because this was one of the stories that came out today about the them pulling back Biden's student relief plan. Just real quick, if I may. Nasdaq's up a point. S&P's up a point. Crude oil's at $70. It's up $1 from yesterday. It was down to 69, whatever they get. Let's see. There is a. Why will this not slide over? What do you? Oh, because it's. I had to shrink it. Let's see. Tax revenue growth in these states, none. They lost some tax revenue in this area because everybody's outsourcing it. Texas and South Dakota and all these other states with allegedly lower taxes. West Virginia, 14% raise in taxes. Now it's a percentage growth. Simmer down. California's down 24%, but it's also the sixth largest economy in the world. So Biden will detail new steps on debt relief after Supreme Court ruling. Will announce new steps to protect student loan borrowers, the White House official said after the Supreme Court threw out his plan. Biden will speak on the court's ruling and detail actions his administration is taking in remarks Friday, according to an official who was familiar with the president's plan. Justices 6-3 sided with 6 Republican-led states that sued to challenge the program as exceeding the president's authority. And again, 6 Republican-led states, all of which, unless Texas is one of them, all of which get more in federal funds than they give, and all of whom probably have the least educated populaces who don't have those debts. So They're worried that federal tax dollars, or forgiveness dollars anyways, will go to states that was going to go to them that they don't put in terms of taxes. Debt relief program is broadly popular with progressives, young people, and black voters, and is seen as an unabashed attempt to woo those key voting blocs. Those voters help Biden win. I wouldn't say an attempt to woo them. I think the slacktivist response about this stuff, especially, you know, the ones that were dragged kicking and screaming, I guess, from Bernie and Elizabeth Warren earlier, are more using it as an extortion point. If you don't do that, so I'm done. And that, well, I'll hand this country back over to Trump in a heartbeat. You watch. That's more why they're doing everything they can, because it's not popular with the greater base of the Democratic Party in general. It just isn't. Some of it is, but like full forgiveness and that kind of stuff. No. President Biden has the power to still do that. If we're able to see his debt cancellation happen, this will be a big win for the president. White House, though, has dismissed suggesting there will be a plan B. It's unclear if such an approach would stand up in courts. Well, that's exactly it. They're like, he could just sign something. He already tried the most legal thing that he has available to, an executive order that just gets rid of them. There is one way he could do it, Nina Turners of the world. There's one way that Joe Biden could zero out student loan debt. He could, in theory, declare war on China or Russia or both at the same time, and then use the extraordinary and launch a missile strike right away. Send Marines in, because he has the right to send the Marines in. He can't send in the other armed forces without the Congress. But once the Marines are in there, what are you going to do? Not give them backup? And he could declare war on them, and he could start missile strikes right away. And then when they respond in kind, as they would have to, I suppose, he could declare some form of martial law, restructure the entire economy, and zero it out. That's how you would do it. That is, technically speaking, I mean, hey, you want a fighter, don't you? Isn't that what you asked for? Because that's what it would take. That's the only thing. There you go. That's how he could say, he could just, with his signature, he could get rid of it. That's how he could do it. But he would, Hal, you are being extremely snarky. Yes, that is true. But I am also being completely real. Did I see Biden's interview with Nicole Wallace? Yes, I did. Yeah, it was solid. Let's see, banks in 2008. Soon to be commercial real estate. The banks in the banks in 2008. The Fed, the U.S. taxpayer, made money on the bailout. There were lots of questions asked, and one of the things about the bailout itself was that, and everybody flipped out about the bonuses, but the banks had the right to offer bonuses to anybody who could get them out of their debt with the government and repay the taxpayer as fast as possible. So they were handing out bonuses to anybody who could get real loans, good loans, functioning loans, and get money back into the coffers to repay the federal government and the taxpayer. And the quicker you did it, the bigger the bonus, because the cost of that debt on the bank and the controls put in place while they maintained it were higher than they wanted, so they did. But the U.S. taxpayer made money on the 2008 bailout. Period. They just did. They did. We did. And that money got spent on social programs and some infrastructure and other shit like that. Who canceled PPP repayments? That'll be another one. That was put in by Democrats and everybody else. Because, again, this is a fucking pandemic. You're not going to be able to pay it back. You got a business that's struggling. And don't get me started on MTG. I'm talking about a real business. I'm talking about like a mom and pop restaurant or something. You're on the edge of it. You're barely making it. But you pay your bills and you're getting there and all that kind of stuff. And then this thing fucking hits. And then you're saddled with a debt that's twice the size, in terms of a loan, to keep yourself afloat and pay your employees during this time, during a pandemic. You'll never be out from under it unless it's forgiven. So the idea of keep your employees on, and we'll forgive it as a grant to keep you afloat during this thing made total frigging sense, and put that money back into the federal coffers. Democrats structured that, and most Republicans in the House and Senate backed them up. Trump had no idea what the shit that was. Fed is not the government. It's the banks headed up by the government. Yes, but the taxpayer provided the money to shore up the Fed during that time. That's why there had to be a bill. That's why there had to be a bailout passed, because it used tax dollars. No debts are ever forgiven without being recorded. True. I think partial forgiveness is in order, but it needs to be done by the Congress, which ain't happening. Exactly, which is why you have to vote consistently, and you got to have a huge Democratic majority. By the way, that agree. Just because they're all Democrats, we still have debate and freedom of speech and an idea. Your argument has to win. You can't just be a fighter. I don't give a shit how loud you are. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks. I swear to God, like everybody who's talking about now, we need fighters and fighters. And if we're going to fight, we have to fight. We need somebody who'll fight. All those people, that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks. That's how she ended up in Congress. That's how her constituents think. And she's been all but fucking useless. Thank God. What particularly, besides, putting fucking impeachments on the floor and maybe helping McCarthy get over the line, what has she done? What has she affected on anything? Nothing. It's ridiculous. Just noise. And if you just want to be noise, just say so. I don't like any of this shit, so I'd rather have somebody just stand on the floor and scream all day long. Cool. All right. At least say so. Good Lord. Yeah, she just sucks attention out of the room. She's a female Jim Jordan. We'll see. Well, that said, I mean, it's let's see. Russians are coming. Let's see, Pride Month. We talked about Pride Month. By the way, happy Pride Month to those who celebrate, and especially to those who don't. America after Pride Month is over. Oh, she's nice. Oh, no, hang up. Gaga Crave. She's folding it up respectfully, so I don't know if they're making the case that they just put it away until next time and they don't really care or something. That seems to be the languaging around that, but who could say? Patriot Pride Month? Well, all right. He's Belarusian. John Wick is not Keanu's American. We love Keanu, but John Wick is insofar as I know, an illegal alien, for the record. He's not here on legit papers, but he was able to buy a house. What the hell? By the way, let me remind everybody how you do this. Not interested in this ad. There you go. Whenever you see an ad come up, for stuff, it's super easy. Just what in the world? Who's getting hosed down there? Oh, I see. Oh, this is older. Okay. France riots again. French, what are you doing? What? France, Paris's new Bakhmut. Oh, hey, calm the fuck down. Well, I'll tell you. France has not, has played footsie with Russia and footsie with China, and they enough to make both of those powers believe that they can get a toehold there, so they feed the other organizations and subterfuge inside the country to try and physically destabilize the country. That's why. That's why. Because the fear is that by directly rejecting them, you come across as fully right wing, and that's in Marie Le Pen's territory. So everybody backs off and tries to play jovial. That's it. I don't know what. Oh, this word. Fight unthinkable. Oh, I see. Because Biden wrote it. Yeah, don't use this word. And nothing is unthinkable. I can think anything. That's the amazing part of the human brain. Everything's, it's like saying, you can't make this up. Yes, you can. You just wouldn't. I think that phrase should be, you wouldn't make this up. Apparently, by the way, this is getting legs. I posted this the other day. I was like, the Dow today, unemployment today. And everybody's like, but COVID? I'm like, that's not the point. I've walked you into the idea that you have to admit that these things are better. They are better than they were when Trump left office. They're not worse. That in and of itself puts the lie to everything. We're a country in decline. We're in hell right now. Our country is going to hell. Our country is in hell. We're never going to recover if we blah, 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 blah. You can fight on whether it's, well, that was the tail end of COVID. Yes, the thing he totally mismanaged and blew off, and he said everything, he said he rebuilt it a second time. So apparently it was built exactly like he wanted right when he left office, and he was going to rebuild it a third one. Unemployment the day before the first U.S. COVID case, lowest across every demographic in U.S. history. Yeah, but they didn't narrow, and it's lower now. But again, it's a trick. I don't know why people don't fucking recognize that this is a trick. This tweet is a trick. You have to admit that the details I put forward are true to even make your argument that, well, percentages and percentages by the relative. Okay. Trump said the Dow would crash. Trump said you'd have 20% unemployment. At some point, all the griping in the world about whether or not you think, well, that was because COVID and COVID doesn't matter, because all you're doing is reaffirming the fact that Trump is a liar and full of shit and made a bunch of predictions that was garbage. The other thing I put up was this one. China, Maria Bartiromo, amongst a couple others, was saying that the Chinese Navy is twice the size of the U.S. Navy. And by sheer number of vessels, that's almost true. Not quite, but almost. China has 730 naval military vessels, and the U.S. has 484. The entire Chinese Navy, all of it, weighs 2.4 million tons. The U.S. Navy weighs 4.5 million tons. Half the ships, twice the tonnage. Maybe we're half the size because we don't count canoes in any fishing boat that's painted green. That's the point. Yeah. This guy, Daniel Koo, jumps in and says, the military is saying they're concerned about it. I'm like, I don't mind that. That's their job. The military will always go, we got to take this threat seriously. Even if they sort of know better because China has nukes and other shit, and if we don't take that seriously, we want them to keep building up their military because it sucks ass and it wastes a lot of material. And my response was, this guy's like, it's less about a static data point, more about dynamic trends. They look alarmingly horrible. And I was like, nope, it's BS versus reality. This is like comparing U.S. construction to China's tofu dreg by saying the number of buildings is more important than their safety or whether anybody lives in them. And my issue with Bartiromo's is that this is new to Biden, that all of a sudden the Chinese decided they were going to build because that's what she wants you to think, that they suddenly, since January 20th of 2021, China has doubled the size of of the U.S. Navy or some shit. And B, that she takes the CCP's word as gold. And he says, I hope your optimism is right. I am. I am correct about this. It's aggravating. Hello. Johnny Million. Oh, this one, and this came up too. This is when did that? Oh, Newsweek took its story down. Yeah, I think people should have taken a picture. Happy birthday, Vincent. Yes. 30%, 4% of the U.S. is favorability, and you can assume you're from that 34%. By contrast, 50% of the U.S. rated the economy excellent or good when Trump left office. Figure that one out, bud. I don't know. They prefer thousands of American deaths. I think okay. Because that's what they prefer. Like, look, I don't care if 1,000 Americans die a day. I just like the economy. It was good for me because a dead guy can't flip a burger. Hillary in 2016. There you go, Macron. Friday feeling. We had that. We're not doing Friday AI today because we're pausing some of that. But yeah. Oh dear. Oh, this is the Everybody thinks this is scary. This one's going around. And as soon as the girl goes out of view, he starts jumping and skipping. It's whatever. It's by the way, those are setup videos. I don't know if you know this. that China and Russia and other countries make these kind of like viral videos, and they do it on purpose. And then they post them on accounts to draw you to them. And then when it comes time to like for a big story to make the rounds, they change the content of those accounts to be pro-Russian or pro-Chinese. Just so you know, they did it with cat videos and all that shit on Facebook in 2016. Happiness is indeed contagious, but that's a setup video. Just saying. They make them all the time. And here's the thing. As long as you're aware of that, it doesn't work. You can just enjoy the happy video. It's like, I know they're going to eventually try and bait me, but I know it's coming, so who cares? Simple triple flip drip. That's how it is. You're a setup video. Okay, cool. Smiles are contagious too. Well, it depends on what kind. I think I'd beg to differ, but who can say? I mean, I'm not here to yuck your yum, right? Let's go back to the Bloomberg thing real quick, and then I wanted to look at here we go, crude oil. So oil is if you listen to Trump, the oil was supposed to be $200 a barrel, like months ago, much less now. But you keep waiting. You just keep anytime now. It's going to happen. I'm waiting. You're waiting. It's going to happen. Here it comes. $200 a barrel. It's going to get so expensive because of Green New Deal stuff. That's any day now. And then we'll look at, I want to show you something. I got to switch over to this first because I can't put up the Telegram without checking here. But the Ukrainians are making amazing progress for the record right now. And put this away. And there we go. They have to. I always have to be careful when I'm looking up stuff on here to show you guys, because it's hold on. Let's see. Oh, by the way, Trump on his Telegram is celebrating the death of affirmative action. It's a great day for America. People with extraordinary ability and everything else necessary for success, including future greatness of our country, are finally being rewarded. This is the ruling that everyone was waiting for and hoping for, and the result was amazing. It will also help us. It will also keep us competitive with the rest of the world. Our greatest minds must be cherished, and that's what this wonderful day has brought. We're going back to all merit-based, and that's the way it should be. So that's his response to affirmative action going away, because might hold a competing event during the first GOP debate. Yeah, that's what he did last time. He thinks it's going to work. Everything's a fucking rerun with this dickhead. We know. That said, okay, so that's on his Telegram. And by the way, I don't know why people go to. He's got this thing with Truth Social where he has to do whatever they like. He can't be on Twitter or he can't be on Facebook because he's on Truth Social, and that's the agreement he made with the investors or whatever. But he posts everything on Telegram for free. I don't know why the fuck. You don't even have to have a Truth account or follow him to look at either. Whatever. And the ads don't run on the Telegram channel. I don't understand. I don't get it. It's fucking weird. Yeah, shooting in Moldova today because the Russians have decided that they're going to start dusting up shit in Transnistria and Moldova, the border area, because they fucked up so bad in Donbass. They're going to try and make a smaller, shittier version of that fight. Let's see. Hold on one second. Let me bring this other one up. Get this in here. Hold on. Can I translate this to English? A new and very creepy challenge is spreading on social media. I don't know. You guys have seen this. Ethan and Cam were looking at this yesterday. So the new Grimace shake is big at McDonald's, and it's a horror like trend on TikTok about it. And I don't know if you've seen them, but they're pretty hilarious, I think. Here you go. Here's one.
McDonald's. Happy birthday, Grimace.
There's purple shake all over the ground. This is a purple hand. That's friggin' amazing. Okay, and then I think this is... Wish Grimace a happy birthday. This is like, yeah, me pretending I don't see the Grimace shake trend, right? And then here's a...
Got my Grimace shake. Happy birthday, Grimace. Is it good? Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Hey, is Ava okay? Should we go check on her?
Yeah, she's been there a while. She hasn't been acting herself since she had that shake.
They're doing too much of it. You can't gild the lily.
Hey, are you okay? Oh my god.
Yeah, that's too much. You can't. It's just a straight up. The Grimace trend is it's just got to be one single image or one floating image. You can't do dialogue after. That's not how these work, guys. Come on. But that's in the Baza Telegram channel, which is pretty funny. Has anybody? Oh, hold on, chat room. Let me see if I can bring this up real quick. Have you guys seen those? Has anybody seen the Grimace trend stuff? There's one with this black dude who's drinking and he's like, "Happy birthday, Grimace." He takes it and it literally cuts to him on the hood of a car, just covered in purple shake. It's so good. So drink Grimace at Mickey D's shake. It's a horror movie. Yes, that's it. You lost me at McDonald's. Yeah. You're not supposed to get it, Oliver. It's an obtuse trend. It's just supposed to be funny because it's something so cheery into something so horrible. That's the idea. That's all it is. And it took off and now everybody's making their own. Yeah. It's weird. Yeah. It's not on TikTok. It's on everything. They're reels. That's where we saw them yesterday. They were all on Instagram. They were all over Instagram. Yeah, it's a purple drink. I don't know. As George Carlin would say, blueberries are purple. So anyways, that made it to the foreign press. Let me see if I can. I'm going to show some. There was a drone launch from Ukraine that hit a base in the Kursk region. Astra is doing this. Hold on. Astra, editor-in-chief of Prigozhin's RIA fan. There's a like a doc video that they're putting up. First commenters worked on the media against the opposition, Alexei Navalny and others who tried to destroy our country. Prigozhin's RIA fan show the history of the troll factory. The first platforms appeared in 2009. This because Prigozhin started the IRA, the Internet Research Agency. That was one of his first gigs before he went to an actual wet works. They did a lot of cyber screwing around, and that's the organization that helped Trump the most. And so they're going back over like what he's done for the country. They're trying. This is part of the cleanup. Moment explosion at the tenant facility in the village of Stanro in Tatarstan, which killed 2 people. Yikes. There's an Astra on this. I can't scroll past this because there's going to be something awful soon. Give me 1 second. I do love that Marjorie Taylor Greene is now going to run with Marianne Williamson on Williamson. We should be pushing for peace, not funding war. I filed amendments to the NDAA to strip all funding for Ukraine and prohibit providing them with F-16 fighter jets, long-range missiles. The death and destruction must stop. So in order to achieve peace, I also filed an amendment to prohibit any and all funding to Ukraine until a diplomatic solution to the war is reached. And then I'm sorry. So let me get this straight, dummy. you want to resume military funding after we reach a diplomatic. I see. So we're supposed to lure them in, get them to sign something, and then hit Russia. Okay, good. All right. I didn't realize you were so conniving. Hi, dum dum. All right, and then I always have to back out on this thing because you got to be careful. Dun, 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 dun. Yeesh. 1 second. Yeah, it's basically in Moldova there was basically a mass shooter. It's almost the 1 year anniversary from Snake Island being reclaimed by the Ukrainians. Okay, 1 second. And then why is this? It's normally translated, but some of this. Let me see if I want to show you something. Okay, can't play that. It's always tough, you guys. I wish I had a way I could put the. Well, I guess I could technically. Hold on 1 second. I know what I'll do. It's a good idea. Move this over here. And I can put trends up and I could let you guys be there while I'm looking at this stuff. So at least you could talk amongst yourself and see what I'm talking about. And I can still see you. I'm tossing some blueberries in the blender. It's not a bad idea. This guy, 1 second. Yeah, there's a lot of movement today in Ukraine. Apparently the Ukrainians have made a push on all fronts. So that's we'll have a bunch to talk about on the radio tomorrow. No question. Hold on. Yeah, I'll show you. Here's a. They're moving out of the Ukrainians are moving through Bakhmut into the territory beyond it. There's a lot of talk about the Moldovan shoot. Hold on, I can't show that guy because he's a mess. Let's see. Oh, and the other thing, which is I think one of the bigger stories here, is Mike Pence went to Ukraine. He was in Kiev. He went this is how he met with Zelensky. He went to Bucha. He went to Irpin. Went to Moschin, and this is one of those situations where this is how they're going to distinguish themselves. Republicans are going to distinguish themselves between themselves and Trump. And Pence is running, so there you go. That's the attack of normalcy, I suppose. Yep. And yeah, Orban has come out against the money going to Ukraine. He's like the last holdout. I think he got a phone call from Tucker Carlson, so that's also in the news over there with those guys. Yeah. Okay, I'm scrolling. All right. Oh, good. That's finally be able to. So, a lot of people believe that this piece of video, an interview with Prigozhin and this guy, he is the first time the guy suggests you could just go to Moscow. It wouldn't even take that many guys. And he goes, it's an interesting idea. We're not going to do it right now, but it's an interesting idea. This is supposedly when he got Prigozhin got the idea. This guy was like a mill blogger was interviewing him, and he was like, wait a second, maybe, I don't know. 560. This is, hold on, let me pick this up. Whoops, hold on. Try and do that. I'll hold on. I got to put this over here. It's always a touchy one with this one. This is the current count. 560 in the last 24 hours. 228,000 Russians, 340 Russians have died in battle in the last year. Like, remember when we were talking about how this was, 1.3 times or 5 times the number of dead they had in Afghanistan after a decade? This is a single fucking year. Remember the 300,000 mobilization? There they are. 3 more tanks were gotten, 6 more armored vehicles, 11 artillery systems and 3 MLRSs were taken out. 1 anti-aircraft system was taken out. There were 315 helicopters. I guess they don't have that many helicopters going into the into the war zone right now. 6 UAVs. I guess those were all shot down over Russia by Prigozhin. UAV operationals, 1,261 cruise missiles, 18 warships, 6,785 vehicles and fuel tanks. They got 5 of those yesterday, and then 569 special equipment, which I think they're sending even less of into the area. I should have Balthanos on. All right, we'll work it out. Prigozhin took care of the copters. That's right. And thank you guys for supporting the show. It's the morning show. We're a little more relaxed in the morning. We've got a couple more minutes, and then I'll see you guys this afternoon. And I've been watching a ridiculous amount of old Giuliani. And I know what you're thinking. Is there another kind? Yes, older, I suppose. Giuliani, when he was younger, but it's older, but it's old, and yeah. Anyways, we'll get there. And thank you, Water Goddess. I will indeed. Thank you so much. Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate it. There's just so much, and we have reason to believe that Andrei Derkash or Giuliani himself are the people who the FD 1023 was filed over. The 6-figure informant was either Giuliani or Derkash. Yeah, that all signs point in that direction. Which is why he wouldn't come forward. Which is why. I have not seen the super chats in here. I apologize if I missed them as they went by, because I was busy flipping around and looking at stuff. But thank you so much, and and thanks again to Cheryl as well. I'm punishing myself. Well, remember Chanel Rion, who was on OAN and kind of still is, but not really. She did that 3-part documentary where Rudy went to Ukraine. Remember that? And he spoke to Shokin and all that stuff. And that was supposed to be that's where he was supposed to settle it all, right? Remember that? And that fucking came and went. Okay. The timing on that is particularly telling. And what was said in it points to either Rudy calling the FBI himself at exactly the time that FD 1023 was filed, or having someone in his group do it, or Andrei Derkash do it personally. And Trump's people within the FBI paying him for that. Basically buying compromat. You know how they always say, like, a lawyer for Hillary Clinton paid for the dossier that they brought to blah, 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 and therefore it shouldn't be taken seriously? Well, the idea is that Trump ordered someone in the FBI to pay to get this information through the FBI using taxpayer funds. Send some stars. Thank you so much. But I expect to use. If you send stars, they will be used for the kidney. I presume. It's hard to tell. I mean, it's really hard to even cash it out. So we'll work it out at some point, if I may. Wait. Is that hold on. Is there a cat out here? I thought I heard Chip. We're okay. I heard a noise, and I thought it was Chip. I was very excited. I thought he was outside whining at me. It usually happens in the afternoon, but I thought I'd check on him. Anyways, let's see. Think about it for his rights. Okay, anything we missed? Geraldo quit Fox News after he was fired from the 5. I mean, talk about your last straws. Yep, and yep, right. Weathering is that black people experience racism every day. Okay, chronic stress. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what those are. I don't know what the hell. Like, it's weird that a lot of these favorable price. Yeah. Eek. Let's see here. President versus years. Blah blah blah. Okay, let me go back to you guys real quick, if I may. And yeah, Geraldo quit ish, whatever, and which is like, who cares? Like, you bounce down to the Keanu is Canadian. Yeah, but he's a U.S. citizen. He has been for a while. He was born in Canada. He's a U.S. citizen. Arkin Station in St. Louis did a fundraiser for local Ronald McDonald House charity and raised $50,000 in nearly 20 hours. That's great, EO. Russian government internet went down yesterday. Ooh, what a surprise. Is there another kind of internet, though? Does their personal internet still work if the government, isn't it all government internet in that regard? Oh, thank you. Hold on. Yeah, let me check that real quick, if I may, as well. Let's see. Where do we go from here now that we love Alan Arkin? We go back to there we go, and we go here to content. I guess I have to go to the live thing, and then I got to break this up. Hold on. It's so complicated. Here we go. I don't know. Maybe let's see. Where are we? Viewer activity. Oh, there you go. Oh my God! To pop it out. Quit it. No, I don't want that. Shrink this down. Move this over. So much work. Take this guy. Move him over here. There we go. Thank you, Medium T and L Stinko Farce. Can we get a Chud new computer fund update? Thank you. Chud is doing well. This is for the typos of my super chat. Wanted to watch live Alan Arkin and his amazing in-laws with Peter Falk. I agree. Buddha and the Eagle, thank you so much. And thanks for being at the show. It was nice to run into you again, brother. Always a good time. Pooper Picker Upper, thank you so much. Stamp and Stitch. Do you believe that a factor as to why unemployment is low is because buying power is down due to inflation? People are required to have multiple jobs? No. As a matter of fact, the opposite is true. That there are people who are, there are some households who can now survive on a single income stream, and there are more stay-at-home parents on the other side of it than there have been in a long while. So yeah, that was a super chat question. Thanks, Jolie, for becoming for being a member for 50 months. Let's see, was there? Have you heard the new conspiracy that the fires in Canada were set to make our food prices higher? No, but they were most likely arson. And oh goodness, Buddha and Eagle, I didn't see that other one. So good morning from LA. Happy to watch, and good morning to the chat. Alan Arkin is amazing, and yeah, there we go. Okay, bless you. Thank you for that, brother. And Therese, thank you so much. And Molly Singer, thank you for becoming for being a jalapeno. And yeah, good. Okay, I think we covered it. Yeah, and do I have to do the shopping thing? Everything? Yeah, I do. That's aggravating. Why we do that? So let's see. We're almost we're edging down on time. A couple of things we'll deal with before like this afternoon's show. The Republicans, whoops, let me get this out of here. Republicans are having a fun one because George Santos is in court today. And in Long Island. I mean, hey, McCarthy needed the vote, so there he is. Super fun. And you know, that's one of my favorite popcorn stories that's going around. Yeah. And then currently, thank God, the maggot Republicans, specifically Boebert and MTG and Biggs and Gosar's been a little quiet lately, and so has Jim Jordan. But the rest of them have been so distracting in terms of what they're insisting on be brought to the floor for a vote, shit that will never pass or never get signed or never move through the Senate, that, you know, again, if they can't do any damage, I'm all for it. Spin your wheels, fill your boots, mate. Yeah. Let's see, there we go. Yeah, this is pretty funny too. Let's see if I can find the original article on it. Yeah. No, I can't. Yeah, and I can't. I continue the site. Not ready to subscribe. Tell you why. I'm not from there. Hold on. Blink. I'll look on here. Okay, this is fun. So, whoops. Oh, game over. Scroll this up. I forgot that this guy was up. Although it's kind of appropriate. So, hold on one second. Scroll this. Boink. Go to here. The former Maricopa County attorney calls for a criminal investigation into the cyber ninjas. Remember those guys? Oh, were we ever so young? Reacting to a report, the Cyber Ninja CEO Doug Logan has refused for more than a year and a half to turn over communications about his company's audit of the 2020 presidential election result despite a court order. Former Maricopa County Attorney Rick Romley, a Republican, Republican. He's obviously friends with Fred Garvin, male prostitute, is calling for a criminal investigation alleging a possible felony violation. According to a report from Arizona Central, Romley is asking both county and state prosecutors to investigate Logan, saying he's violating a state law that holds that withholding public records can be charged as a Class 6 felony. In a statement, Romley asserted clearly it warrants a criminal investigation for potential tampering of public records. This could even move into fraudulent schemes. Gee, you think? I mean, you gotta. This is not how these assholes thought it would be going. You know what I mean? Like, the Rudy Giuliani thing, where Lev Parnas tweeted about Rudy and said that basically, like, he's broken and he's gonna roll and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I wish I had a time machine so I could just go and show up, like, magically standing behind Rudy Giuliani at Trump's bitch fest on election night, where he's like, we actually won. In fact, we did win, but we'll see. Where he's flipping out and sweaty and he's mad. And just stand there behind somebody at Giuliani, like when Rudy's standing right there, and just show it to any random person who's just there. Like, read that. Read that. That's from Lev Parnas in the future. And then turn off my phone and then just vanish like Thanos into a purple smoke. Oh, it'd be so good. So good. Just come on. Yep. Let's see, what are we? Yep, that's, I mean, we're kind of covered this morning, except we get into another rotation. So I'm going to let you guys go, and then I'm going to jump into this afternoon, because it's kind of a big-ish show this afternoon. It just is. So let me bring back in the chat room and say thank you again. Whoops, where'd it go? Bring you guys back in. Thanos to Grimace. Is there a difference? I think there's an argument that Thanos is just Grimace shaved. There you go. Deal with that. Boebert has clutch cargo lips. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for supporting the show, being here, watching the show, and all that kind of stuff. And I will see you this afternoon. I still have some other stuff to read up on that I'm kind of making. I'm making a document in my Notion where I can kind of go to stuff when this shit comes up. And then there was a whole other channel of reality that I wasn't even aware of at the time that's come up, and you're like, oh shit, wow, that's a That's a major game changer in a very funny way. So, nothing to stress about, but something, well, I mean, it's definitely something to stress about if you're Rudy Giuliani. And it's definitely something to stress about if you're Donald Trump or anybody who supports them. It's not good. It's very bad. I'll show you guys this afternoon because it's pretty hilarious. Anyways, take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. I'm gonna go see if I can find a cat. Hold on one second. You know what? I should probably hold on. I should do that just for you guys. Give me 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. Here's a Chudley. There's Mama Chud. Her hair's growing back on her wrists and her belly. See her belly, her shaved belly, where she had her ultrasound. They had to shave her. She's like, why did you pick me up? I was perfectly fine, giving the death stare to everybody who walked by.
You're a sweet girl. You're a sweet girl.
So, anyways, love you guys, and I will see you this afternoon. I gotta. Oh, hang on. Oh, hang on.